Shush your pie hole. Be quiet. Hi everyone. Welcome to Kats Creations live on a Sunday night. I have a kitty cat here who's just, he won't be quiet. He's this crazy cat. Today I'm going to show you the super simple design. So this sign, Raised on Sweet Tea and Sunshine, is from Craft Outlet. I will go over the materials as we're getting to them, letting you know where they're all from. First thing we're going to do is finish wiring together this Dollar Tree 14-inch frame. Obviously, the 5 sections are already done, just like that. We're going to wire together the last section together. I'm just taking yellow pipe cleaners because we're going to be using this yellow and white plaid fabric mesh 21-inch as our base. So we have to finish wiring up this section. So I'm just taking a pipe cleaner, going right between the 2 welds, find a middle point. We're going to wire together the innermost 2 rings together like that. And then we're going to use this in the weld, and we're going to wire together the outside 2. Just kind of find a midway point, just like this. You want to make sure, however, that your pipe cleaners are even so that you have just enough equal amounts on both sides. And let's bring this one over a little bit more. Nice and tight. That leaves 12 to the inside, not 12 to the inside, 6 to the inside, 12 to the outside for a grand total of 18. So for those of you that are joining me today, welcome. If you're new, let us know. Also where you're from, because we'd like to welcome you and hopefully get you paired up with somebody here on a Facebook Live that is not too far from you, and then you guys become crafting buds. That's how a lot of connections are made. Also, if you want to be notified when we go live, do me a favor and click the follow button on this page. And like, when you're on the video, you need to turn the notifications on. So with all the changes Facebook's making, sometimes even though you've had the notifications turned on in the past, just do me a favor and just double check that your notifications are still on. What I've noticed is when they make any changes to Facebook, it sometimes resets things back to a default, and then we don't realize it until we realize we're not getting notifications anymore. And then we look and we're like, oh, I don't know how the notifications got turned off. So to turn those on, you're going to tap this video right now in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to get 3 dots. You'll click on those 3 dots, and you just want to make sure that your notifications, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's the 5th option down. You want to make sure it says turn on notifications for this post, and then you're all good. Now, YouTube subscribers, all I need you to do is go ahead and click on that bell in the upper right-hand corner. That's going to notify you whenever we upload a new video to YouTube. Okay.
So this is not going live on YouTube right now. It'll be rebroadcast on YouTube after we finish this.
Right. So this is a Facebook Live, but we upload it immediately afterwards and then share it to our YouTube subscribers. So you can see it either or, but only live on Facebook. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the poof method on a fabric mesh because I love this fabric mesh. It's also really good for the poof method because with the fabric mesh, you cannot cut it with a wood burning tool. You would have to cut it with a rotary, and I'm sorry to say it's still going to really fray. So with this method, we're going to curb all the ability for it to fray because we're going to, the only way it's going to fray is right here at the beginning and at the very end. Everything else at that point is all contained. We're not going to be cutting it until potentially the very, very end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 21-inch roll of Deco Mesh. This is from Craft Outlet. I'm going to drop this right below because it's just easier to do it this way. I prefer to do my wreath standing up. It just gives me the leverage I need. prevents a lot of backaches too. And we're going to gather the ends together like this. Yeah, there's some wild fray pieces if you want to curb those initially. It's up to you. Just so they're not in the way. I'm going to push all the outside pipe cleaners out to the far edge so they don't get stuck on anything I'm working on in the middle. We're going to go ahead and go in between the two innermost rails of our frame, just like this, right in between. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to zip tie this between my pipe cleaner and the outside rail, or not the outside, but I'm back to the middle one. So it's just going around one plus the pipe cleaner that I have stationed in the middle. So nice and tight. Go ahead and clip that end off. If you want to trim this up, it's fine. You don't need to. I usually wait to the very end if I need to make any types of adjustments here. But what it does is it gives me a starting place right below where my first inner pipe cleaner is. So I'm going to pull these out and make 10-inch poofs. I want to make sure that everything is not folded over. So the only way to do that is measure out 10 inches, flip it over, trying to get this exact right to where my pipe cleaner is, 2 solid twists, and then we're going to measure out another 10 inches. So just like that, this is how we make our poof. How you make them look extraordinarily good is keep the size of each poof pretty much as close to the same as possible. So here's 10 inches. Okay. I'm working just the inside 6. Measure this back 10 inches. Put my hands underneath. Kind of get it all poofed back out. Right where I have my deco mesh gripped is right where I'm going to lay that in. Okay. Up and over, 2 twists. Again, just making sure that's nice and fluffy. Okay. So we're going to do this all the way around. Okay. Bring this back out. Back in here. Here's our 10 inches. 2
That's a good idea. She said I use an empty tube to measure mine for the 10 inches.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, if you look, like if you measure 10 inches out here, this is normally what I do. I'll measure the 10 inches here, so here to here is 10. And then I go from here, where I'm holding it, to where it is on my arm, which is right where my sleeve ends. So I can just constantly measure that. And as long as my sleeve doesn't change, I've got my solid 10 inches in.
Sharon said that yellow mesh is screaming spring.
Well, it should be screaming summer. Because I'm moving on. I am done with spring. I'm done with Easter. So I'm moving on to the next chapter. So this could go for an everyday wreath. It's also a really good idea for a summer wreath. I think it makes for really good, because that's what I remember for summer.
Rosalind, yeah, this is a yellow and white fabric mesh.
It's a plaid. Yeah, yellow and white plaid. So it's just like checkered. So I'm going to connect these two now. This is where they began and is ending for the inside 6. 2 twists. We'll fan this one out. Make sure my pipe cleaner that tucked under from the bottom is out. Nice little poofies. That's what you get for the inner 6. For the next one, we're going to still measure out 10. And I'm going to drop this one right here to this pipe cleaner. Even though I know it's a short distance, we're still gonna measure that out. Go ahead and fluff. We're gonna drop this right down. This is taking it down to the bottom level. So 2 twists, fluff this out. Always making sure that our inside pipe cleaners, if you can, pick them up and just kind of push them so they're pointing towards the inside. This way they won't impact the outside ones as we go around. And then we also will know where those are at when we're ready for those to have another roll. So the important thing you want to do when you're poofing as well is make sure that you don't have some significant folds in your mesh. That way, if you do, when you go to kind of poof it out or, you know, fluff it, it won't fluff all the way because it's got the folds in it. So, and
good question. Yeah, she said, what grade mesh do you usually use? I've been using the Value Decor mesh from Hobby Lobby.
I would refrain from buying the value mesh. I would skip that entirely. It's just not a good value.
Use the premium.
You can use anything at that point up to whatever it is, the high foil. I prefer the wide foil mesh, but right now supplies are just, it is so hard to find anything. Everything is sold out. Nobody knows when it's going to come back in. But the only way I would use value mesh is if I was using it as a base just to use it up or to cover it up with something else. So I'm going to bring this back in.
Kat's mother-in-law is doing okay. She's still in hospital.
Yeah, she's still in ICU. They discovered that she had, at first it was, she had 1 blood clot discovered in her lungs, but now the doctors have found she has multiple. So she's in the ICU. They're giving her blood thinners, obviously, to shrink the blood clots because they don't want to go in surgically. They feel that they can dissolve on their own. So it's a wait and see kind of thing.
You got some prayers for your mother-in-law.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Dad's doing really good. His faith at this time is really helping to sustain him. So it's a lot. And they're both 80, like my dad and my stepmom are both in their 80s. So this is a lot.
80s is a tough age to get through.
It is.
Thank you, Pam. She said keeping her in her prayers. Thank you all for saying prayers.
Absolutely. I highly appreciate that so much. Right now, we're praying for salvation over healing because if she's healed and, you know, her salvation's not intact, it doesn't mean anything, you know. So I'm praying that she'll be at a point where she's open to hearing all the things that she's been refusing at this point, which is, I don't need anybody. I can manage this on my own. So we're kind of hoping this is God's way of saying, oh, really? Well, I'm going to give you another second chance. And let's talk. So.
So we missed y'all on Friday. But
yes. Yeah, we were not able to do it on Friday. Like I said, with my dad being 80, he can't drive at night because he has really bad, what is it, molecular degeneration. So he can't see at night. So we're kind of like...
Salvation for sure. Yep.
Yes, always. Doesn't matter what we pray for on the healing side of things. That first. Then we can pray for healing. So that's what we're praying for. Healing first, or not healing first, salvation first. Just be an open, have an open heart. Okay. She's curious.
Praying it opens her eyes.
Yes. She's curious. She asks a relevant question, so we're just hoping God creates the moment.
Thank you, Rita, for sharing. We appreciate it if y'all gals could like and share.
Well, and not only that, if you like this design and you want to replicate it once you get all your supplies in. See, I'm going to unfold that.
It's easy to find on your Facebook.
Yes, it's so much easier to find if you click that share button. That's what I used to do when I was first starting out. Any designs I liked that I wanted to replicate, or maybe just, hey, I like the colors of this, and I want this as a resource, so much easier to find that way. Okay. So we are going to use the full roll of this mesh. So whenever you feel like your mesh is kind of folding in half on itself, just take a moment, straighten everything out, and then remeasure your 10 inches again. So I'm still 10 inches on the outside, 10 inches on the inside. I've been asked, can you go 8 inches on the inside and 10 inches on the outside? Absolutely. This is just a formula for this particular wreath that I'm making that works for me. But you can revise it.
Thomas said it's very hard for me to give up their freedom. I said yes, until they understand that their freedom comes from forgiveness and redemption.
Yeah, it's hard.
Linda, that's true. Only the Holy Spirit knows the condition of the heart.
Yep, we won't know. And this is what I was telling my dad, because we both agreed on the same thing. So it's kind of like godly confirmation without saying anything to one another. We both had the same thing. We're like, do you think God's using this experience to get our attention? So he said it and I said it. At the same time, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
And it looks like sunshine mesh.
Well, it does.
You say that because that's what the sign is kind of about.
Well, raised on sweet tea and sunshine.
Yep.
Although I was not raised on sweet tea.
I wouldn't either.
I was raised on sun tea, which is still just as good. Didn't get exposed to sweet tea until Cracker Barrel. And then I tried sweet tea for the first time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That wasn't in Cracker Barrel here in California. It was in Arizona.
It was in Arizona, right. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, oh, this is really good. But there are some people that was what summer was all about. Okay. And I'm always taking the outside pipe cleaners, doing the same thing. So even though we have this drop, this little poof right here, all this is the extension from the top to the bottom. So we're going to complete this actual loop, which is this portion right here that needs to be connected into here. So 10 inches in, we'll make sure it's poofed. We're just gonna pull this one up. We're gonna connect this with the outside. Just like this. And then I'm gonna show you something different. Okay.
Arena, yeah, that's true. She said it's a southern thing. Even though she doesn't like tea, but it is a southern thing.
I guess it is.
Sweet tea? Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was so good. Okay, so can you guys kind of still see through here? There's some like little pockets where, and I purposely put it on the dark board so that you could see. There are some little holes here and there, but that's not anything relevant to be concerned with. And I have about enough mesh to go around right about here once. So this is what I'm gonna say is called running out your mesh. So if you have stuff like this where it's not overly thick, you know, you can still kind of see it. If somebody was to kind of poke or move it around, you're still gonna see it. So what we're going to do is we're gonna zigzag. So if I part the waters, as it were, we are now going to focus in between the inside and the outside poofs. So this is what it means running it through the third time. So on the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure off 10 inches. I'm going to take it from here and add it here. Then from here, I have 2 sets of outside pipe cleaners. Obviously, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to go forward, which is putting me right where this one is. And then we're going to go back to the center, back to one of the outside. And it'll always be the outermost one. So right here, I'm on the outside one. Here, outside one. Here, it's going to be this one. We don't go back. So let's see. There's my 10. So I'm just going to pull my pipe cleaner here. I'm going to add this to the center. Okay. Tight 2 spins. We're going to take and fluff this, which is basically just unfurl it. This is going to fill in the gap in the center. Now from here, we're dropping straight to the bottom. So measure out your other 10. I'm going to drop it right in here. Okay. 2 twists. We'll go ahead and just unfurl it, just like this. You're just like undoing it. Still going to find my inside pieces. And then from here, we're going back up to the inside, right here. So we're on the outside of the previous section. Kind of have to move your pipe cleaner to the side, go up. You're going to connect to the top, remember, and then we're going to drop to the bottom outside. So take this, pull it all apart so it's nice and fluffy. Pull your outside ones out, just like that. I'm going to remeasure my mesh, and I'm going to drop it to the outside right here. Two twists, undo it, push these back to the center. Okay, now we're at the bottom. I'm just going to separate these so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So from the bottom, I'm going up to the top. And then this one will connect to the bottom in that section. So from here to here to here. Okay, up. Just kind of connect whatever I had in my hand. Two twists. Undo this one. We'll pull my pipe cleaners down. Fluff this one. Okay, right here. There's that one. And then from here, the other 10, make sure this is right, drop to the bottom. Two twists. Move the inside one up, pull these down. Okay, we're back here. We're going to go from the middle or the bottom. We skipped the one that's right next to it because obviously that's not relevant. We need to get it up to the top. So measure out your 10 inches. Move it right into that spot. Two twists. pull this pipe cleaner out to the outside, unfurl. I was like taking the edges and making sure those are completely tucked in so we don't see the raw edge. This is going right here to the bottom. So just a jump down. 2 twists. Separate. Right to the middle. Okay, we'll pull these back down.
And also on the third row, do you use all the pipe cleaners or skip one?
You skip one.
Skip one each
You
time.
skip
Right.
one of the bottom ones. So like right now, I am on, here's the outside in one section. You will skip the beginning one in this. You won't go to this one. Okay? You will always go to the last one, which is the far left one. If you're running it towards the left, you will always pick the last one in each section. So you have your upper and then your lower. So here, we're measuring out our 10, going up.
Yeah, it's fabric mesh.
2 twists, push them out. Grab this one, make sure it's on the outside. Trying to find the other end. There we go.
So good evening, Kat. Love the yellow and white mesh. Always wanted to know how to add more mesh in like that. So
Yes, this is a great way. And plus, you know what? No one wants the leftover end of the mesh. And we always, if you're gonna use a poof, more than likely you will always have just enough to go around one more time. So rather than, you would never store it. God, for the life of me, I did for the longest time. Because you're just like, wow, like this is, I think this mesh runs like $13 for the roll. So it's a fairly higher priced mesh. So you don't want to waste it, but then you don't want leftovers either. Because the leftovers wouldn't be enough to do anything with. Okay, so we're going back up. And here's where we're going to end because here's our drop down section. So we can't go any further. So from here, we're going to go up and then we should have a down, I believe. So I'm pretty much picking up the whole last section of my mesh because here's my tube. Trying to find my other half of my pipe cleaner. Just like this. Make sure we pull these two back out because we always need to know where they are. Especially if you picked, like I did, same color as my mesh. Makes it hard to find my pipe cleaners again. Okay, so this is what I had left. Literally, that is it. And I was done. So from here, because I can't go any farther because of that jump, I am going to take this and I'm going to, I don't want to run the whole thing through, so I'm just going to cut it just so I have a small tail because I'm not really losing much. I'm going to tuck this back to the inside. So what I have in my hand, I'm going to flip it over. Okay. Here's where I started. Here's where I'm ending, right at the same spot. So just like that. We have beginning and end side by side. Let me get my pipe cleaner under. Not pipe cleaner, zip tie. There we go.
I zoomed in so they should be able to see it good.
Okay, so zip tie.
Those are very pretty, and you are right, it covers better with no holes.
Yes. So I'm actually going to put another one in here because I don't think this one just went in too easy. There was no click on my zip tie.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put one on top of the other and then I'll cut the the other one off. See, like that. You could tell it was in. Okay, so I'm going to cut this monstrous end tail off. So we're back down to the little brush. So here's where we started and here's where we ended. So just perfect. And then I don't cover the backs of my wreaths. I leave them all open. This way it just allows the customer one of 4 places to hang it from. They can hang it here, 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 or here. It's up to them. Here's what the end looks like. And we have still yet to put our ribbons and anything on. This is just our deco mesh base. So let me tell you what this averages out to. From the edge of my mesh to the edge of my mesh right now, it's 23 inches in diameter. So now, should have brought my trash can over. Okay. We are going to remove the inside 6. So I'm just gonna give these a bunch of extra twists. Tuck that back down to the center because our sign is a 11.75, which is basically rounded up a 12-inch sign. Tuck. 1, 2.
Myrna said, hello, I got a question about it. What do you do when you're going away for approximately 3 months and you want to have access to your wreaths?
You will not have access to them.
That's what she's saying, yeah.
3 months, if you're going away, I would probably put it on vacation because I don't think you can put it on. Yeah. You can't extend it out that far, yeah, processing time. Yeah. So just put it on vacation mode.
Which you normally don't recommend, but for so long.
Right. The only reason is because I don't think you can push out your processing times for 3 months.
Darla, that's awesome. She said, Kat, not only do I love your work, I love listening to your trainings. Your voice is calming to me.
Thank you. Okay. We have, I think this is the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, this is the last one. Okay, so look how fun and sunny, and it's so soft. I love fabric mesh. It's one of my favorites to work with because it is so soft. Okay, we are going to use the outside 12. We're going to add our ribbon tails to this. So let me show you the ribbon. So we have, believe it or not, can you believe it? They made sweet tea and sunshine ribbon to match the sign. So this is from, look in the book, I think it's Craft Outlet, right?
Craft Outlet. Yep.
Yeah, so Craft Outlet for this, it's the 2.5. These are cut to 14 inch. And then we're also using the mint green Swiss dot, which, yeah, and this is from 5th Street Studios. So if you look, it matches our sign pretty perfectly. So we're going to alternate these. These are 14-inch pieces.
What was the sign from again?
This sign is from Craft Outlet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add one in. 2 twists. Fan to the outside. Okay, just like so. And then skip. And we're going to put that blue so that this time now we're going to pop the blue into all that yellow. I had some really gorgeous yellow lemon ribbon, but with the base color just being solid yellow and white, I felt it needed that punch of blue in here. So this is why you always want to make sure you know where your pipe cleaners are. And these will lay flat as soon as we get them all in and add our 1.5 inches to the tops. So you want to make sure it goes all the way down in there. and then flip them and pull them to the outsides, just like that. Here's our other outside. And I don't use poof that often. I'm starting to use my 21-inch mesh up. Okay, pop it, let it lay. Should have one right here. Here it is. And I'm just kind of alternating how I put my sweet tea ribbon in. Sometimes it has them this way and then the other part goes upside down. There's no way to make that go right side both ways. Here's this one. Okay. Put this in. Bit. There's another one right in here. This one will flip the opposite way. Okay, back out. Open. About halfway through, I think. Looks like a little bit more. Because I only have 4 ribbons, so 2/3 of the way through. Okay. Another one in here. Feels like a treasure hunt, trying to discover where your ribbons are at. Flip it this way. So I'm just gathering. I always fold it in half just so I know where the middle is. This way I know I'm getting an equal amount of ribbon on both sides. Okay, here's another one in here for our blue. So fold it in half. And then right where I've creased it is where I'm just gathering this in little pleats because you want that pleated look. 2 twists in and then punch it back out. This one. Back up. And these are deep channel. So when you do a poof wreath, you kind of have to account for the fact of where you want your ribbon tails to end because they are going in all the way to that center, and that center is about 5 inches down. So you've got to account for that as it goes in, how much more is going to be on the outside. You don't want to completely bury it and lose it and not be able to see it. Here's the last one. Bring this back out. And now we're gonna go ahead and add our 1.5" ribbon. So sometimes you have to kind of just pick up some of your poofs so they lay better. So we have 1.5" lemons. We are gonna add just a touch of lemons to these. We're gonna pop this on the blue. And then we're going to take this brown plaid and we're going to actually add this to the iced tea. And then we're going to come in and add some brown flex tubing on top of that, just to kind of pop the color of the tea in that look. So these are both cut to 19-inch pieces. We're doing what's called a half bow. Because when I first started wreath making, I always looked at these ends and I felt like it was unfinished. They needed something in here. Even when you do 2 ribbon tails on top, it always felt like there needed to be something in the middle. So I came up with half bows, which are like 3D awareness ribbons. So 19 inches in, you take your dovetailed ends, bring those together and go up about 2 inches from the top. You'll pinch that in. You will place these right inside, right where a pipe cleaner is. You're going to go ahead and give it quite a few twists because we don't want to make sure that that ever comes undone. You will snip it right where it has finished being twisted together. You will take this little piece, you will tuck that all the way behind the loop. You will open the loop, and then you will always have to right side one of your ribbon tails so that it sits like so. This way you get a nice finished look, and that to me looks complete. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do all the blue because then we're gonna come back and we're gonna add our flex tubing in to the brown at the same time. So I'm just gonna do the blues for now.
I love doing the half bows, which I learned from you.
Thank you. I love them too.
She said she learned so much from your video sharing. Thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome. Always open.
Myrna says she's going to take care of her mom in PR. Don't know exactly how long she'll have to stay. Well, we're praying for you, Myrna.
Yeah, hopefully you won't have to stay very long, but you know, these days in the times in which we live, I think you have to have somebody who's there all the time as an advocate, just to make sure you know what's being done, you know what's being given, you know why it's being done.
Sharon said my favorite ribbon is the lemon ribbon.
You like lemon ribbon? I just got that in. This is from Crinkle?
Crinkle.
Yeah, so Crinkle Designs for the win on the ribbon. And if you guys haven't checked out Crinkle Designs, I'm going to have Steve pin their website to the bottom. If you go to their website, the first thing you notice on the website is their prices are really high. It's like $10.50 for a roll of ribbon. But when you check out, if you use code 5050, you get your supplies at half off. So if it's $10.50 for a roll of ribbon, you get it for $5.25 a roll, which now brings that back into a very reasonable place. And it's gorgeous, well done ribbon. This is not that fake satin. I highly, highly recommend the ribbon. So if you're looking for the lemon ribbon, they do have it in the 2.5. They have it in the 1.5. I think they have it on natural. I got mine on white.
Yes, crinkledesigns.us.
Yes, so with a K. So, okay, 2 more, and then we can add the other one. And then I'm also going to change up the bow to something we haven't done before. I think we may have done it once, but I haven't done it since then. And I think I'm going to start doing it a little bit more. Okay.
Where are those Crinkle Designs located?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Hold on a second. I have my invoice sitting right here. Illinois. Cambridge, Illinois. Because I just got this in. And I was like, oh, pretty, we're going to make this. Yeah. I'm waiting for more lemon branch picks to come in. Those are hard to find. Right now, anything is hard to find. Okay, this is done. Bring it around. Open. Flip. Okay. Love how that looks. Very sunny. Makes me feel like lemons. Let me go ahead and undo this, which is just from Dollar Tree. During the fall, if you remember, You can pick up gold, lime green, orange, and purple, and black flex tubing at the Dollar Tree. You get 36 feet for $1. Although I think this year, it'll be $1.25. The plaid ribbon, is this from, I have it sitting right here.
So 1.5" brown plaid?
Yeah, Craft Outlet. Okay, so we are doing the same thing. We're gonna do our half bow. I'm just gonna tuck this in here. I'm gonna give it 2 twists. I'm gonna fan this out because I need to fan it first before I can add the other. We'll open this up and then I'm going to remove this and find the end. Here we go. And I am going to, people always ask, I think it's 3 inches, 3-inch little tails. I'm just making these little bundles. It's just back and forth loops. I think the loops, yeah, they're 2 inches. And I'm just gonna take this, trying to find my pipe cleaner, tuck that in as close as I can to the base. Put a little twist on that. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna tuck this down below the bottom. So when I open this, we have a nice little cute bundle to go with our sun tea and lemons. So that's what we're doing to the sun tea areas. So 19-inch, fold it in half, tuck it in, get 2 good twists on it. We're making our bundles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can make them, honestly, whatever size you want. You just really want to get it in nice and close to the base of your ribbon. Off. Down and behind. Open this up. We always have to right side one of our ends, pull our T ribbon down to the center. I like to kind of just put it in between. Just like that. And as you go around, you can just kind of make whatever adjustments you need to. If you want the brown on top or the blue on top, whichever one you want to be your predominant color, you can, as the designer, make whatever choices you'd like. Okay, 2 in. Add our flex tube. Flex tubing is a really good option. If you're looking to help reduce some of your costs, consider just putting flex tubing in on top of your 2.5-inch ribbon. And you can omit your 1.5 inches. In, down. Just like so. I've got to sometimes punch that under so it'll kind of come up to the top. Just like that, so you still have your sweet tea.
Well, it's cute. I haven't used the tubing for a long time. Yeah, it's been a while since you used the tubing.
Yeah, I was telling Steve. So look in my shop this week, we are making some incredible mystery Wreath supply boxes, which are just going to be the mother load of all supplies. I'm not actually making Wreath kits per se. It'll just be tons of brand new product that, I don't know, for 4 years I just never got around to using. It's still great quality materials, but honestly, I have so much that I need to get rid of it. So we're just going to make these giant bundle boxes that will be available on my website once I get them all together. They're going to be 2 sizes. One's going to be a large box and the other will be a small, or not small, a medium and a large. But they will be packed to the rim full of supplies, signs, frames, everything under the sun that you could possibly think of. And even if you just took all the supplies in the boxes and sold them on a de-stash site, you'd be able to get your money back and then some.
Ravina, I think if you're still ordering through KatsCreationsNMore or Crinkle Design or the Wreath Shop, as long as they have it in stock, it doesn't take too long to get.
No. As a matter of fact, I got my Kringle stuff in within a week.
Yeah.
It just depends on...
If it says out of stock, yeah,
it's out of stock.
It could take a long time to get it.
Yeah, if it's out of stock, there is no way of knowing. Because with the supply chains being disrupted in China yet again, you might get it in 3 months. You might get it in 90 days. So, which is why we've kind of held off on our Wreath of the Month supplies, because honestly, there just wasn't anything that I found worthwhile in putting together in a kit.
Sharon says, I've never used tubing.
You haven't? It's so much fun. And it just stretches. So make these cute little bundles. Yeah, just add something different. It adds a little touch of the sparkle to the design. Because the sign is flat, the mesh is flat, the ribbon's flat. So this is kind of like the ice in the glass.
Thank you, Rosario, for sharing the page. Lynn said I'm way late too, but hi everyone. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. Here's another thing too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said hi, Lynn. She was late too. Claire asked, will you be selling kits in the future? I think you were just going to do grab bags, right?
Yeah, right now I'm just doing mystery boxes because the kits are like question mark. Nobody can put anything together right now, nor can anyone guarantee putting something together. So I'm going to pull down all the stuff in my garage. There's so many brand new things that I never got around to using, and I just have too many of it. So it's going to be really good grab boxes. There'll be brand new signs, embellishments, ribbon rolls, deco mesh, wreath, wreath forms. I have a ton of them. I just want to offload them so I can, my craft room is overflowing into, I have no space. So the only way for me to do that is all the stuff I collected right when I first started going. I will try to do my best to coordinate them, but it's easier if I just put them together and just fill the box. And then you kind of get whatever it might be just the ribbon you need, because the stuff that I'm putting together is all discontinued stuff. They don't make it anymore. So they're brand new ribbon rolls, brand new deco mesh rolls.
Rita, I don't know if she knows how much she's going to be selling the kits for yet.
Not yet. I got to see how full I can stuff them. And then I need to see how much are they going to weigh by the time I finish. But check that out. Isn't that gorgeous? How that's just going to sit on top of there. Yeah. The yellow in here is what really pulls out. And then everything just really ties together. So we are going to make a bow. I haven't decided where it's going to go yet. But this is what I'm saying. Here's the new thing that we haven't done for a while. Rather than use the ribbon that we've incorporated in here, we are going to use some of it, but we're all going to do it all 1.5 inches. So we're going to make this, it'll be just as wide. It just won't have these really thick 2.5 inch tails that cover a lot, because I don't want to cover a ton of stuff. you know, I still want to be able to see the mesh. I still want to be able to see the stuff that we have going around the outside and the sign. And there's so much on the sign, you know, either we have to put it up at the top and put our bow down here at the bottom, or we kind of have to do something over here off the side. So let's see what that looks like when we put it all together. So ribbon choices. We have our lemon. We have our plaid. We do have the 1.5 inches, so I'm taking it from here and bringing it down. We're also going to introduce a solid yellow. And then we have this mint green with a swirl pattern. And then we also have the yellow daisies. So I think the way I had this factored in before went something along the lines of like this, I believe. Let's see, I might want to put, let's try this. Don't want too many busies. I think I'll do it like that. I think so. Because I don't want too busy stuff, although this stuff all at the end is really busy, but it's yellow, brown, blue, and then we have the yellow, blue, and then this has a touch of that in there. So same bow dimensions, just all 1.5 inch ribbon. The swirl on the mint is from Craft Outlet. So we're going to go ahead and trim that off. We're going to put a dovetail edge on it, which just means bring your wired edges together, and wherever you cut on the folded end, your destination point is always going to be towards this wired end. So how high up you come determines how deep your V will be. And I like mine fairly deep. I think they look pretty. So,
love, love, love.
Oop, look, here's a bad splice. So I can't even get that in there yet. Hate when this happens, because I don't like to use spliced pieces in it. It's like, And I've been coming across that a lot more too. I see it in my deco mesh, which really drives you crazy because your dimensions have to be right on the money. So 10 inches in, we are going to gather, okay, and then twist. That goes right into our Bodabra. It's just going to hold it in place. Allow me to flip it over. And we're still going to go, push this up. We're still going for our 5.5, just a little bit more. 5.5 inches out. Okay, flip it, twist, measure this again. I'm bringing it back onto the 10, stretching this out. It's only 5. So there we go. There's our 5.5.
Nice, Sharon.
And then back out to 10 inches. Good night, Sharon.
So can't wait to see what it looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's a little too dark for us to do photos tonight too. But it'll be perfect tomorrow because they're supposed to have a big, huge rainstorm come in.
I hope.
That's what they say. And so let's put this back. Okay, now we'll take our brown. Do the same thing. Dovetail. This one's going to be 9.5 inch tails and a 5-inch loop. So 9.5 inches, gather, twist, place inside your Bodabra. Then you're going to measure out 5 inches on your loop, which should be about 1/2 inch shorter than the one before that. Right at 5. Do the same on the other side. Right there. And then 9.5 inches out. Oops. tail. Okay.
Barbara, will the boxes be on Etsy or Cat's Creations?
They will be on my website, so
Cat's Creations.
KatsCreationsNMore. Yeah. Okay. Lemon. This one. Okay. There's that first one. Okay. 9 inches. In. Twist. And then this one's going to be 4.5 inches. So again, come down a 1/2 inch, but still double check your measurements. That's what makes it really easy to make a fairly good bow, is if your measurements are on target. It's like a recipe, right? You can't just eyeball what looks like a 1/2 cup or a teaspoon. You have to measure it. Okay. And then 9 inches, again, for a tail length.
Regardless, I have that same linen in the 1.5 inch and 2.5 inch. Love it.
Yes, I just got it yesterday. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to use it. Okay, Swiss dot.
Rosalind, it was so hard to estimate how much shipping would be for those mystery kits or grab bags to Canada.
Yeah.
She'd have to do some research first before she could even guess.
It would just be insane.
Yeah.
Because I know right now a 12 by 12 by 4 inch box is basically almost $30 to ship to Canada, I believe. And that's if they haven't gone up. And these are going to probably be 22 by 22 by 6.
Yeah.
And then I think it's going to be...
Shipping going to be probably more than the mystery kit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of state it would be. Okay, these are going to be 8.5 for our 4th ribbon in. It's also going to be 4.5 inch loop. Okay. Here we go.
They've still been getting snow in Ohio.
See?
That's where flowers are starting to bloom, but it's still
Too
snowing.
cold. The flowers are like, what the heck is going on? Okay. So even though the bottom ones, these are both 4.5, the easy way, because you measured the bottom one, is just put your fingers in both and give a slight tug. And then you'll still have to measure your tail length though.
I think that 1.5 bow looks better, very petite.
Yeah, I think so. Because I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to really be able to find a place for this. So what else could I use to decorate? And I'm like, well, why does it always have to be 2.5 and 1.5? Why can't it just be 1.5? You know, it doesn't have to even be 6 ribbons. It could just be 4. It just depends on what you want. And I really wanted to make sure we're pulling all those colors back in.
Sorry, that's a good question. You can always PM her. She said, would you consider pickup for those who live locally in Riverside County?
Yes, I would. Honestly, I really would.
Then it gives you a chance to go have lunch.
Yes, or you can just come pick it up. You never know. There might be some few other things, some other boxes I haven't listed yet. So yes. So I live in Southern California, so anyone who wants to drive for pickup, I am totally fine with that. I'm at the very top of the pass in Victorville.
Carol said I live in Pennsylvania and they have 7 inches of snow still.
That's crazy. Okay, so on this one, our 5th ribbon in, it is an 8-inch tail with 4-inch loops. Right there. Okay, we just want to make sure we're right on our measurement. Solid 8 inches out so that our tails are slowly being reduced by a 1/2 inch each time I'm adding a ribbon. This one just really upsets me. Such a lot of good ribbon. Okay, there's that. And then the last one is our sunflower, but this is a sheer. Now this is from Burton & Burton. Burton & Burton is a wholesaler, which means you have to have a business license in order to order from them. And you have to buy in a certain quantity. I think the first time I ordered from them, I don't know if it was $300 was my first order, or it had to be $500 for my first. So it's really easy when you buy ribbon though. Okay, this one's going to be 7.5 inches, but our loop size is only going to be 3.5. And the reason why I'm pairing this with the yellow is because when it sits on top of the yellow, it'll make our sunflowers pop.
Leonin asked, do you make baby announcements and how much? No.
Baby announcements like the wreaths?
She would make a wreath. Yeah.
So, like you can email me. So if you want to type in the email address at the bottom, it's info@KatsCreationsNMore.com. So if you have specific questions, you can email me. And this last one, like I said, these are 3.5 inch loops, but 7.5 inch tail length. Okay. Last one. So we'll see how the cute and petite little bow looks. Take all that off. We grab our pipe cleaner. I like to prep it ahead of time by putting it in a U shape. So when I reach in here and grab these and compress it, then just move your hands so you can slide your pipe cleaner in. You're going to hold it really tight to the bottom, and then you're just going to twist your stack. Just like that. There's the last little piece. Okay, let's get the fluff board. So let me move some stuff so I can push my wreath over. Just move this over. Okay. Almost done. We're just going to fluff and attach our bow and our sign, and we're done. So this is a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick fluff board that I had a friend custom make for me. I liked all the colors that he put together. So you can just make a simple one. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's. In their pre-cut lumber section, you can buy the wood already cut in 24 by 24 by 1 inch sections. And then just pick up an 1.5 to 2 inch C-hook or cup hook, and you're just going to screw it into the center of your board. This way it's weight, you know, you have a lot of weight, and all this is going to do is keep your bow from sliding. I am just going to feed my pipe cleaner around the C-hook, just like that, and then we're separating. So loops from tails, we start at the bottom. Okay, there's our loop, there's our tail. Opposite side, we're going opposite. So we're going to go tail and the loop. Okay, so the tails are opposite, the loops are opposite. Then you're going to go grab the next one. Here's our loop, here's our tail. Okay, opposite side, opposite direction. We are going to pull our tail over, pull our loop over. This way, what we have is we're starting a staggered color effect. So we have tails, and then our loops, and then tails, and then loops, and then each color we bring down, we're just following that pattern. So I'm following the blue. Okay, back over to the other side. I'm going to grab my tail, my loop, next one down, following the brown, go opposites, okay, loop and tail, just like that. Everything is kind of combining. Go down again, We're pulling loop tail. Here we go. Loop to the right, tail to the left, go up to the top, loop to the right, tail to the left. Here it is tail to the right, loop to the left. Now see, it's all smashed. So people are like, you're fluffing it as you go. No, smash it all down. Okay. If you want to mix in your tails with your loops, it's up to you as a designer. I kind of like to know where all my stuff is so that if I'm centering something around a sign, I don't have tails hanging over. But that's just how I do it. So you're always going to start from the top. You're going to put your fingers in and you're just going to pull your loops up. So there's that. We're going to do the opposite on the opposite sides, just like that. Okay, move your tails. I like how that falls in between those. And we're going to pull the yellow to the opposite side, just like that. Okay, we're going to pull this up between those two. And here's my lemon off to the side. I like how the brown is kind of peeking in between the brown and the blue, just like it's automatically doing here. So again, lift it up. Here is our brown. Here's the blue in between these two, and it's falling in between these two. Okay, so there's our small petite bow. You just fan everything out the way you like it to go. The tails, if you want to put the arcs back in, or the little curls, just remember back in the days when we used to do curling ribbon, you're just going to put your ribbon in between your fingers and you're just going to slightly pull. And then that just puts the little arch back in your ribbon. If you want to move colors around, you're welcome to do that.
So you got a new fluff board. We've had it for a while now.
Yeah, I've had this one for a little bit, but maybe not everyone has seen it. Okay. Just make it look the way you want it to look. It always looks better when it sits on the wreath, but sometimes, you know, you might want to just make a bow. Sometimes people just want to buy the bows. So there is, hence, our board, which once our bows are made, it becomes a great way to take photos of that bow as well. Because then you don't have to like worry about what it looks like on the wreath. You know, it's like buying a house and you want a paint color. You don't want it already up on the wall. You just want to be able to look. Okay, there we go. So there's our bow. It's all set. It's ready to go on. I'm just gonna push this off the same way opposite it went on. Set that aside. Okay, we need wire. Wire for our signs. Okay, so we are going to pull off about 12 inches of floral wire. This is 22 gauge floral wire. Right about there. And I like to build this from the back. So this sign already comes with holes in it. So you don't need to hole punch it. But if you build it from the back, then it'll lay flat. 3, 4. I like to put about 5 good twists so I have a pretty good base. Push this one through. Make sure it's even. And then build from the back. just like that. So it's got a nice little like curled base going up. We'll pull this back. We will lay, I'm just gonna push these flat for now. Kind of decide where I might want it to go. Let's see if we do that. Ooh, I really like that. Okay, done. So doing the smaller petite bow really helped. So knowing also where your pipe cleaners used to be, it just makes it really easy to go in and do your wire it to your frame. So you always want to make sure you're hitting the top and the bottom. And I usually push it down gently until I kind of feel where I want it to kind of stop. I don't want it to smash in there, but I also don't want it to float on top either. So there should be another one, and there is right here. This is why I love using floral wire, because it goes through all that fabric mesh. Pretty good. I just gotta, this is where I started. So right where I started, I have that big ball. So I'm kind of pushing these out so we have little poofs around our sign. Okay, secure. 2 twists. Okay. Make sure all of our ribbon isn't smashed right there. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and flip this around. And I'm actually going to use my tails, like right here. They're actually going to border right here around the sweet on the T, just like that. And then these are going to kind of cascade over, just like that. I know it's kind of hard for you to see. Wait till I put these on. So making sure these line up. Want to, and of course I have like the weakest pipe cleaner. I'm trying to use up these really thin yellow pipe cleaners. I don't know where they came from. I think they were still in my stash bag. So of course these are going to be challenging to go through a poof because they're going to get caught on the fabric. There's one. Hopefully we can hit the other one. There's just a big ball. Now we're going through 3 layers of poofs. Okay, so positioning. I take my bow and I just push it to where I need it to stay, to where I'm met with that resistance on the bottom. I'm going to give it a couple twists. And then I'm just going to move things around so that everything lays where I want it to. So that these all kind of cascade over. You can still read our sweet tea. We have all these. I think this one's a tad too long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this one up. It's just longer than where I want it to be on the wreath. So trim that one up. Punch all my ribbons up so they're not all flat. Okay. I love it. So pretty. Okay. Let me show you what we have. So this is just going right around our S. So using the smaller piece, I'm actually going to trim this just a touch. since we trimmed the other one. Just like so. So it'll fall there, it'll fall there, just like that. And then we'll fix all the ones I smashed on the way down, just like that. Okay, what do you guys think? Super, super cute.
Nice and beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
You're so welcome.
This wreath is available on her KatsCreationsNMore site.
Yes, it is.
You see the picture of the sign.
Yeah. So, there you guys go. That one's down in the books. So, I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Friday, at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 Central or 8 Eastern Time. And if you have any questions, feel free to either email me at info@KatsCreationsNMore.com, or you can leave a comment below. It's easier if you email me. But that's it, and I can't wait to take photos of this in the morning. Okay, everyone. Well, have a great evening.
Give it lots of loves and likes.
Have a great week, everyone.